Okay, that sound means you're back on the air with the restaurant brokers, Eric and Robin Gagnon, and now we're going to talk about the reality of the restaurant business. That's where we give you the full and unbridled truth, the reality. So, Eric, what do you think about today's show? We're focused on wine. Is there some bits of wisdom that we want to impart to our listeners about the reality of getting into the restaurant business because you're a wine aficionado?
Absolutely, Robin. It was a lot of the same themes we hear almost week after week on the show. Passion, education were some of the things that resonated with me today. I mean, we talk about Shannon and Sammy today come here, and they were passionate, obviously, about wine, the wine industry, the wine business, and they went forward, took it to the next step to launch their own concept. They went into uncharted territories, said have a good plan. They learned on the spot to create something that is very, very successful now that they're also very passionate about. So that was very interesting to see that passion, and also the word education came again and again and again, and we've heard that so many times on the show.
Well, and what I really liked what Shannon said in the very last segment, which is that you have to surround yourself with a team of people. He started out with a love for wine, just like so many people come to us. They have a love of the food or hospitality industry, but he also said, oh, by the way, I had to figure out how to be an expert in fire extinguishers and regulatory issues and how to get the transactions through the POS system. It's just not enough to love the food or wine to get in the business, is it?
Correct. I mean, we see that so many people are passionate, and as restaurant brokers, oftentimes hey, how are your books and records? Your profit and loss statement, your tax returns. Oh my God, I'm so far behind on this. I don't even know what I'm doing. All I know is I have money in my bank account, and that's it. If you're not an expert at accounting, it's okay. Go find someone to put on your team that can do this on a monthly basis for you, so you know where you've been, and you know where you are, and you know where you're heading. That's also very important.
And the other parallel that we see between this and the restaurant industry in general is that you really have to practice inventory management and inventory control. Just like that menu, you start out and you want to be like the 24-hour diner up in New Jersey that's got 700 different varieties of everything. And what you realize quickly is that there's only 20% of your menu that's really turning over and selling. So you have to manage into that inventory. With rent costs rising, that's especially true, and costs for good wines rising. If you're in the wine industry, you have to make sure you're making good choices about what you have, make sure those wines pair well with what you're serving, and have only the right amount of inventory on hand, or you're quickly going to have a cost that gets out of control. And that's the reality of this business.
Yeah, as we heard today from these guys, it's almost like the wine business is becoming more sophisticated as far as different blends and flavors and creation. I know Robin and I had the chance to go to South Africa a little while ago, and we had a bubbly red. It was like and I was surprised. I mean, it wowed me. To this day, I still remember it. That was amazing. I've never tasted something like that before. There's so much different things out there, but you also got the decision of what you carry in your restaurant or your store becomes more and more complicated. You also got to simplify it to the customer experience. Like if you have 20 dishes on your menu, do you really need to carry 80 bottles of wine? That's a question. I
think that's a great point of view. And I also want to share on the flip side that if you're a run-of-the-mill sports bar, you don't have to do what everybody else is doing in terms of the wine service, because I don't drink beer. It's just a personal preference for me, and I know plenty of our listeners do. But, break out of that big brand cycle and do the research and do something that would attract more women with a different sort of palate to the wine, rather than just having that same basic assortment of Chardonnays and Pinots and things that Merlots, the things that you see at every single sports bar in every single corner.
Yeah, I was talking to Shannon off the air just before the show, and I think 90% of their wine in their store is under $25, and they're all organic. All of them are organic with no preservatives. So there is a way to get great wines for good pricing. So that's another thing. As you get more sophisticated into your choices, you simplify on the customer side. A lot of restaurants, some restaurants I've been to recently, they have, hey, all our wines are $32 a bottle, or they're $28, $32, and $40. Very simple, and you get great bottles. The days of the 80s where you had to pay, the more money you paid for a bottle of wine, the more supposedly that wine was sophisticated and very good and everything. These days are gone. My corporate days would spend $1,000 a bottle of wine, and honestly, I didn't really enjoy it.
Well, and I also think that amount of expertise that's available is unprecedented. I mean, think about the two gentlemen we had on today's show. as a local restaurateur or a bar owner who maybe got into the business because you love the liquor side of the business and you wanted a really special variety of draft, or you were into the craft beer business, bring in expertise from the other side of the aisle. Bring in that wine expert, for a consultation and say, hey, take a look at what's on my menu. What could I do to improve this offering? Are there some great small production wineries that I could bring something special in, and take it almost as an approach to a seasonal menu? Change up your wine offering on a seasonal basis with the help of someone who knows a lot more about wine than you do, and you'll improve your customer base and the customer experience. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I mean, someone like the Wine Shoe here in Atlanta, for those of you, I mean, they don't compete with restaurants, bars, or anything like that. So why not going to their shop and say, hey, would you help me creating my wine list for this season? I mean, as people want to know where their food comes from, people also want to know where their wine comes from. Is there a story? Is there a way to get in touch with the producer or the person or the vineyard and have them either even come to your place for an event, or have some kind of a Skype interaction with people all around the world? I mean, make it, again, education is how you're going to get through your customers, and that's how they're going to enjoy and support your product.
I think that's great. And if you are sitting out there driving or listening to our show and you're thinking that you want to get into this industry, and in particular you like the wine or the club side of the business, we definitely have some listings available, don't we, Eric?
Yes, we do, Robin. We always do have some listings available for those of you.
I want to talk about one that we have in Tampa, Florida, because it's a club for sale. So all they serve up are alcohol. So obviously they have the standard liquor by the drink, but here's a real opportunity to take something that's serving up six-figure income. And this is in Ybor City. That's a really cool happening part of Tampa, Florida. This is making six figures now. You could take that, change it up, and add in some really special wine pieces to the mix and have a great opportunity. It's on the market for $429,000, and you can find it on our website at WeSellRestaurants.com.
Yeah, and as everybody knows, it's always 80 degrees in Florida and sunny, right?
80 degrees, sunny in Florida. Yes, so when those hurricanes come. And also the great thing about Florida, though, it's a very business-friendly environment. We have a second club in Florida on the market in that same area for around $139,000. That has been getting a ton of interest, but you don't just have to go with a traditional nightclub lounge type atmosphere in order to improve the wine list. We also have a traditional tavern in Atlanta on the market, right, Eric?
Pub Tavern in Atlanta has been there for a great time, great location, surrounded by national retailers all around you in the same shopping center. So it's a very good power center. It's got lots of TVs, as you can imagine. So if you want to do more of a sports teams or anything like that, good food, a lot of room for improvement for food, as well as, it's about 4,000 square feet. So it's a good manageable size, not too big, not too small. Space very flexible, great bar, a lot of regulars. Place does over about $1.1 million a year in sales, so it's got consistent sales. It's been around for at least 10 years. So it's got a lot of good things to do, and most of it makes money.
I love that. And the other thing that I really love about that listing that we haven't mentioned yet, there's a little bit of owner financing available on that particular choice for someone that's got some experience. All of our listings can be found online at the nation's best website for information, restaurants for sale, restaurants for lease, and that is WeSellRestaurants.com. That's your online source. Our authority and information in the restaurant industry flows through that website every single day. You're on the air with Eric and Robin Gagnon, and we are the Restaurant Brokers.